Tonight's Fireside CharLA is brought to you in partnership with United Latinx Fund and Latino Coalition of Los Angeles. This online event series aims to engage, educate, and advocate on important and timely topics that impact LA's Latinx community during the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as during the national period of civil unrest. I'd like to quickly thank sponsors for tonight's event, Southern California Gas Company and JP Morgan Chase for their commitment to and investment in nonprofits like United Latinx Fund. They work to transform, uplift, and improve our community's quality of life. Our program is designed to engage you, our audience. So if you have a question, please enter your question in the chat box. Please note that everybody's audio and video will be muted until the Q&A. And tonight's program is streaming on Facebook Live. So to access the video, please visit ULF's Facebook page. And Cindy, if you could put a link to ULF's Facebook page in the chat box, that would be great. And you can host a watch party and you can invite your friends. I've already started my watch party here. So thank you, production team, for activating the Facebook Live. Tonight we have a very special three-part charla you are not going to want to miss. First off, we start with an intimate look into the inner workings of everyone's favorite online Latinx publication, LA Taco, with Director of Partnerships, Memo Torres. Then you'll meet the next generation of social impact consultants and professionals doing the work across all three organizations, United Latinx Fund, Latino Coalition of Los Angeles, and LA Taco. And then in closing, we have a very special announcement that we're excited to share with you tonight. It has never been made public before. This will be the first time that anyone has heard this very special announcement. And so you will be here to see it first and hear it first. Let's begin our program. LA Taco brings raw and street level journalism from all corners of LA County to their loyal readers, supporters, and members who share all of our passions for Los Angeles. Their journalistic efforts under the leadership of editor Javier Cabral recently won the prestigious Emerging Voice Award from the James Beard Foundation. And we're beyond excited to spice it up with them tonight and in the future with our exciting announcements. Memo Torres, a taco eater extraordinaire, a journalistic legend. Welcome to the Fireside CharLA. Memo.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. A little too much sauce on those tacos there. I don't know about a journalistic legend, but appreciate the compliments. I'll take it.
You know what? We like to make our guests feel welcome and at home. And if that means, échale salsa, then that's what we'll do. So let's get started with a little conversation.
Yeah.
Memo, what is your role at LA Taco, and how have you applied your entrepreneurial know-how to enhance the LA Taco business model? Memo.
Well, my official title is the Director of Partnerships. That's kind of focused on developing our membership program, which is how we, fund LA Taco really, and be able to fund all our journalism, all our writers, our freelancers, and get all those great stories out there that you see about the community, about food, tacos, art, culture, everything that matters in LA. And my job is to basically develop partnerships with taqueros all over town, with different organizations, building networks, to be able to grow LA Taco, grow our membership program, and be able to, have connections with the city of LA and the people of LA. Beyond that, I also kind of help in all capacity. We're a very small publication, so it's a very DIY, how Javier Cabral, our chief editor, likes to describe it, do it yourself. So, if I need to go out and take pictures, we have amazing photographers, but sometimes I'll go and take some pictures or edit some videos or put some videos content together. I write now as well. I write mostly about food, tacos, which, it doesn't, I don't know if that's anything legendary, but, I definitely enjoy doing that. And most part, I also help trying to build partnerships with potential sponsors for our events, for custom content, to, like we just had some partnerships with Tecate, with Discover LA to feature certain people, artists or people in the community doing great stuff. or having like ceviche week, where we let people know where all the good underground ceviche is. I know all the spots, by the way. So yeah, that's basically in a nutshell what I do at LA Taco. I'm kind of what they like to call me is a Swiss Army knife. I kind of all you want I can do. And oh
I
yeah,
love
sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, you were
No
asking
worries.
how I brought my entrepreneurial experience to this. I mean, like LA Tacos, it's been around since 2006, and it's kind of started off more as a blog. Kind of just people interested in tacos and art, graffiti art, local culture. Um, in 2017, the end of 2017, it relaunched as a publication with the shuttering of LA Weekly, that getting gutted out, and seen a lot of publications struggling. Seen a void there. The founders decided, you know what, we need a voice in LA, and they had this going. It had already been growing in popularity, so that's when they hired Daniel Hernandez and relaunched. I came in at shortly after Danny Hernandez came in, and my entrepreneurial experience is basically real simple. I'm like, if you want to build something from the ground up, you have to work. You have to put in the effort. You have to learn everything there is to know about it. You have to commit. You have to sacrifice. You have to have a passion for it, and all these things I had for LA Taco. So I've brought that experience, that commitment, that know-how to get things done, to build something. This publication that's been growing in LA.
And I love how you sort of brought all of your previous and past experiences and sort of challenges as well as wins as an entrepreneur to not only bring value to LA Taco, but also to elevate the conversation as well as the content. I like how you kind of really brought all of yourself to the table. And I think, the publication benefits from that. Um, we all are really appreciative that LA Taco centers the voices and cultivates the skills of the next generation of social impact professionals. And we have a few of them on the line today that will be joining us. Can you tell a little bit more about how exactly LA Taco goes about uplifting these young people's voices and providing them opportunities to practice?
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I became so passionate with LA Taco, and offered myself and joined uh, to offer all my talents and experiences and my work ethic. Because LA Taco is probably the only publication in LA, if not even the nation, I mean, that invests so much into young voices from every community in LA. I mean, I think it's one of the things that it does best. If you look at all our bylines and all our stories, it's usually from somebody that's from that community that knows exactly what's going on, and you get their perspective. It's somebody that's usually young, somebody that maybe is not experienced or is fresh out of journalism school, or maybe still in journalism school. But
Mm-hmm.
we try to uplift those voices in those communities, and it's important because if they try to pitch to like LA Times, which is a big corporate newspaper that's focused on big stories and how these stories fit into the big scheme of things, they're not really necessarily interested in the small nuances of the particular details that are going on in different communities. And that to me is important. Everybody needs to know what's going on in LA. We pride ourselves on having street level journalism, and street level journalism starts with people in those communities that know what's going on.
I think there's a general consensus of many of the folks in our respective organizations and communities that have always had a gripe about how LA is portrayed,
Yeah.
whether it's by the major media, whether it's by the entertainment industry, or even if it's by national publications like the New York Times. And I remember growing up and reading, how we were portrayed and thinking there was a disconnect, and it's existed for decades. And to finally have a publication that is rectifying that in such a significant and authentic way, but also during the present moment, I think it's valuable and it's appreciated. I speak for myself and a lot of the others. It's a long time coming, sadly, Memo, that we've had to wait, this long for something that I think many other communities and localities probably have or take for granted, to a certain extent. So thank you for making that happen and sort of making wrong right in many respects in the journalism field.
Well, thank you. I mean, a big shout out to the whole team over at LA Taco, especially our chief editor, Javier Cabral. He does an amazing job trying to sift through all the pitches he gets from a lot of people. And we're a small team, so there's so many stories out there that we wish we could publish, but he does a good job of trying to pick the ones that, he can prioritize and will reach out to people and the messages that need to get out there.
Yeah, well, you're doing a great job and definitely distinguishing yourself from others. So congratulations.
Thanks. I'll be happy to.
Why are partnerships essential to the success of LA Taco? Director of partnerships.
They are. I mean, first of all, if you want to be able to have a community presence and a representation of community and be able to know tell people what's going on in your neighboring communities, you have to have those relationships and those partnerships with people in those communities. Like for example, I think the biggest clump of my partnerships are with taqueros, and that's awesome. Not only because they're tacos, but these people are there. They're out parked on the streets. They have their own regular customers. They see what's going on, and funny enough, like they'll let me know, hey, I heard about this. Hey, check this out, and even through our membership program, I even consider our members partners, because our members are also a great resource. Not only do they support with their monthly subscription, they're always letting us know, hey, we got this story. You guys should look into this. Should this, and just being able to build a network. I mean, I think that's important. You're only as strong as the people that support you and you support. And if you can't do this alone, you know what I mean. We don't have corporates backing. We don't have infinite amount of cash flow. Like we're really built on by and for the people of LA, and that's important.
I think you're definitely sort of preaching to the choir here in terms of United Latinx Fund and the Latino Coalition of Los Angeles. The folks that you see both here in the room with you and then also that are attendees, we rely on each other. We cannot do this without each other, and each of us brings a unique skill set and a passion and an expertise to the table. And we are also lean and mean and scrappy, but also very much committed to the values and the communities that we represent. And so definitely feel a lot of kinship and a lot of knowing in terms of maybe not the specifics of how you got here, but the general feeling and the general spirit of collaboration and partnership building. And to have you as the director of partnerships, I think the organization is in very good hands. And to that end, we'd actually like to have a conversation with some of our partners here in house. And specifically, I was wondering, Memo, if you'd like to maybe kind of co-facilitate with me this part of the conversation. So if you have any questions as we go along, or you'd like to throw in some commentary, please, be our guest. You're part of the CharLA family now, so get comfortable and
Right.
let's begin. So the second part of today's conversation is about the centers on the next generation of social impact professionals. And when COVID hit earlier this year and the subsequent civil unrest ensued, ULF and LCLA partnered quickly, and we triaged rapid responses that included the Campaign for Nonprofit Resilience, policy advocacy, media engagements, as well as, of course, the CharLA series. To help execute this ambitious agenda, ULF and LCLA engaged up-and-coming social impact professionals and provided consulting opportunities for these young entrepreneurs to advocate and hone their skills. So with us tonight, I'm so pleased and honored to introduce to all of you Samantha Nunez, Jacob Montoya, Cindy Villegas, Edwin Arango, Ingrid Rivera Guzman, and Victor Cruz, who will share some of their experience and insights into the world of political and social impact consulting. And remember, after our discussion, please stay tuned for our big announcement that we hope will not only inspire you, but will also move you to action, and to possibly give. So let's open up the conversation to our social impact professionals. And I'd like to start with Samantha. Sam, you are have a unique role in all of this because you not only are an intern at LA Taco, but you also are working on the communications team with ULF. So, Sam, can you start us off and share a little bit about, from your perspective, what has been sort of the single greatest takeaway in your experience, and more specifically, what skills have you learned through this experience that you're currently applying?
Yeah, so I'd say the single greatest takeaway from all of this is being able to practice, my social media and social like advocacy role. I think something that I get to practice on both ends, being now a social media analyst for LA Taco, and being a consultant with ULF, is that I get to experience both ends of, kind of being a part of the press side, but also being a part of the side that gets to deliver, the writing. And I think it's something so special that I get to share on and develop is my writing, and something that I've adopted a greater role in, public policy and, writing stuff like press releases and media alerts and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's been my greatest takeaway, is being able to, cultivate my writing in a different way. And, like one thing is having writing from school and writing your essays there, but another thing is being able to, write for the real world and write for causes that are important to us. And be given the platform both on the LA Taco side and with ULF has been really rewarding. And I think, especially now being in the pandemic, I think it's something that is unique because not a lot of organizations are giving young people like myself this opportunity. So it's been really rewarding to see, my press releases going out and the media alerts getting sent and getting that, feedback from larger news organizations. And I think writing less on the public policy side, being able to publish my first article with LA Taco was amazing.
Great
um,
article, by the way. It was a great
Thank
article.
you. I appreciate it. But yeah, so I think, being in a pandemic, a lot of people anticipated, the younger generation to struggle a bit with work and, how are we going to find these opportunities? And, organizations like ULF, LCLA, and LA Taco have really given us the foundation that we need to, hey, we are the next generation. We are the next, people who are going to take over what's coming up. So I think that's something special and very unique that I've experienced on my end.
Thank you, Sam, for kicking us off, really laying the groundwork for the conversation. Um, and also, we have another one of our professionals who also sort of straddles more than one organization. We have Victor Cruz, who not only works for a United Latinx Fund, but also has a very important role at LCLA. Victor, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and share with us a little bit about your work, and then also, again, the same question: what how has working in partnership with these organizations benefited your professional growth, and what is your single greatest takeaway in terms of a skill development?
First and foremost, I would just want to say buenas tardes, good evening to everybody. My name is Victor Cruz, and I have the pleasure of working at the United Latinx Fund as the Workplace Giving Campaign Manager. And I also have the privilege of sitting on the board of directors for the Latino Coalition of LA as the secretary. To go into the question, my biggest takeaway and also the biggest added experience to my skill set is the same thing, which is prioritizing community. Always making sure that community is at the forefront of everything that we do. Through my experience, both of LCLA and also ULF, I get to wear many hats. Not only am I doing fundraising, I'm also helping with developing our nonprofit partners. I'm making sure that we're doing political organizing and policy work. I'm also making sure that we help create language justice and accessibility and equity in the programming and the programs that we offer. And all of that is to make sure that a community and the communities that we work for and represent and advocate for and are a part of have a seat at the table. And it's very humbling, and it's a huge responsibility as well. One that we have inherited, one that I have inherited, I'll speak for myself, from those who've come before me, from the ancestors who've come before us, and those who have enabled me and given me the opportunity to be here. And so I really take pride that ULF and LCLA both providing community-driven solutions in a way that is respectful, both in the multiple facets of the communities that we have, the intergenerational qualities of the communities that we have, the diversity of the communities that we have, and being able to advocate, but also respect our legacies and the diversity in a way that is empowering. And I'm very privileged and very humbled to be a part of that work. I'm very glad to be able to give testament to the private-public partnerships that both of these organizations are so good at developing, whether that be the private sector, the public sector, the nonprofit sector, governments. It really has confirmed to me the importance of developing relationships with people that are diverse in their skill sets, but also are effective and humbling and direct in the impact and the intent and the missions and everything they carry through. So I'm very thankful to have gained that experience, especially during the pandemic time. I'm very thankful to also, continue working. So thank you, Richard.
Absolutely, well said.
Thank you.
Memo, do you have any comments before I turn it over to our Madam President?
No, I don't. I'm barely meeting Victor. That sounds great what you're doing, Victor. And
Thank you.
Samantha, I've had the pleasure of working with over at LA Taco, and I can tell you she's going to be a great future leader. She's already a leader at LA Taco, as fresh as she is there. It's making a huge impact. So kudos to Samantha. And I'm looking forward to learning more about, the rest of the team here.
Thank you.
Sam, could you do us all a favor and put a link to your article in the chat box, please?
Yeah, I'll drop that now.
And Madam President, the floor is yours. Same question. Take it away.
Thank you, Richard. Hi, everybody. My name is Cindy Villegas. I serve on the board of the Latino Coalition of Los Angeles as the board president. Very thankful and humbled to be here with every one of you guys, all of my colleagues, and different partnerships that we've been able to develop through the pandemic and even before the pandemic. To answer your question, Richard, the biggest skill that I was able to develop through this partnership between ULF and LCLA has been strategic and intentional partnership. Right when the pandemic hit, LCLA was about to host a Women's History Month event. We had 4 great panelists that were going to come on board, and we were going to have a venue. The event was already being promoted, and the pandemic hit. We had to quickly respond and figure out whether we were going to cancel the event, where we wanted to postpone it, or whether we're going to take the risk of hosting it virtually. And I want to say we spearheaded, that motive to take events virtually and really taking that risk of thinking of new ways of making these events unique and really just making them as engaging as possible for the attendees that were, expecting a live event where they were going to be able to engage with the panelists. The event ended up being very successful. We had over 70 participants in it. That was when people were worn out by the Zoom calls and the Zoom meetings. But then this is when the Campaign for Nonprofit Resiliency campaign launched. So my partner here, Jake, and I really got the opportunity to be a key included in the comms team for both of these teams to be able to put these CharLAs together. Correct me if I'm wrong, Richard, I think we're on week 30th. It's been such a successful partnership, and for us, really just learning how to manage Zoom, how to be able to engage folks and keep them engaged through the pandemic, and continue to highlight timely topics that folks want to hear about, and making this, just like Memo, you mentioned, a social network where folks can learn about new things that are happening throughout their community, even in communities that they're not from, right? So it's really just been an experience. I come from government and campaign background, but I've never really tapped into the comm side. And this has really pushed me to learn about this amazing tool called Zoom, but really be able to continue to grow and cultivate relationships, even if it's virtual, because we don't know when the next pandemic is happening. And really, I'm thankful for all the opportunities we got through this partnership, but really the resiliency that we were able to build thanks to the support of both organizations that really just want to empower you to really take on that leadership role and don't set a doubt in them. So thank you.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Yeah, I mean, really hopping to it at the beginning of COVID, just through demand, through necessity, and DIY, make it work. Killing it in the beginning. Yeah, it's been 30 weeks nonstop. No, I take it back. There was one break, but it was because we needed 2 weeks to plan a leadership summit with like 10 panelists, so we did take that break, but since then that was a production break, but planning. But other than that, it has been 30 weeks straight. And speaking of production, I want to try to do a little tag team right here between Edwin and Jake, because they literally took their production skills and applied it in a big way. Gentlemen, would you mind having a little conversation, maybe 3 minutes here, to share a little bit about how you took all of this to the next level and why it was meaningful to you?
Yeah, for sure. What's happening, everybody? What's up, Edwin?
The block.
Everybody on the block. That's what's up. Yeah. Honestly, just take for myself. Oh, did we lose Edwin? Okay, there we go. For myself, I took away a lot from the production side of being on the LCLA ULF combined communications team, and just I really played fly on the wall for at the beginning of it, right? I just kind of like I did what was asked of me. I paid attention to what everybody else was doing. And just kind of learned and saw best practices. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I got Edwin. I thought, sorry, I'll turn off my AC. There we go.
You're good.
But I learned a lot of those skills and was able to apply them. Edwin and I were able to apply them to a separate Platica series that we had called the Block Talk. And so really that was, it was taking a lot of our experiences in Black and Brown marginalized communities in Los Angeles and elevating the conversation to, about this next generation of we've come to a new level of consciousness. We know our situation and we know the circumstances we're in, right? So we're coming to this recognition, we're coming to this actualization, and now it's like, okay, now what's the next step? Now that we are aware of everything going on, what are some steps that we can take? What are some conversations we can have that speak to these issues? And I'm really proud of what we were able to do. Edwin's one of my longest best friends. That's my homie right there. That's my day one. So I'm really proud that we got to get that off the ground. And then to the other question about the greatest takeaway was just really seeing myself reflected in the work that I wanted to do, because I'm sure everybody here, like nobody on this call as a panelist was told that what we're doing now was a viable option when we were young, right? It wasn't a thing. Like we all had to create our own lane, every single one of us. And so just the fact that I had in my mind what I wanted to do, but I hadn't seen it done yet. And so coming into this network of people that had done what I wanted to do, was like, oh, okay, cool. Y'all can all play to your strengths. Y'all can all find your own lane, create your own lane. You don't have to, follow the path of whatever was done before. We can start to make our own. And I think that was one of my biggest takeaways, was that, I saw myself reflected in that work, and I saw people like me doing what I wanted to do. And that was huge.
Edwin, you're up. Oh, by the way, Jake, could you put a link, if available, to Block Talk in the chat? If you could do that, please. Thank you. And Edwin.
Right on. Thank you. First and foremost, I just want to say good evening to everybody on this call. Thank y'all for being here. Whoever's out there watching, thank y'all for watching. Happy Thursday. I'm wearing my Dodger cap. They say you should show your face, but it's an LA thing, and the LA Dodgers are in the World Series, so we keep that with us on, But I want to talk about Block Talk real quick per your question, and then come back to the original question. Just the Block Talk experience was cool because it did come from this. And actually, I had a change of heart. I'm going to answer the question first and embed Block Talk into my answer. You said, what have I learned from working in partnership with ULF and LCLA, right? So first and foremost, I'm a board member for the Latino Coalition of Los Angeles. And that's been cool. That's been a growing opportunity, a learning opportunity. And more than anything, it's impact, which is beautiful. I think we all take from lots of things and lots of people. And whenever we can contribute to give back, we should, is what I think. So I'm very blessed, honored, and humbled to be a part of LCLA and to sit on the board at that, right? Then COVID happened, right? The COVID happened, and I remember talking early on with just leadership, some of our mentors, like, yo, we had to do something for our people. Many people are unemployed, many people are hungry, and we were just trying to figure out how to leverage resources, whether it's talk to elected official X or elected And then we circled in with ULF and we figured, shoot, we can create a mini grant cycle, you know, and go out after both private, public money, get it and redistribute to the local nonprofits. And that's what we did. And I organized looking for nonprofits to partner with us. And what that really means, serving people, our community that could benefit from some of the funds that we were able to raise, you know what I mean? So that's the campaign for nonprofit resilience. That's how that was born, was a response to COVID, right? Then life continued. We stayed at that, right? Organizing, getting funds. But then we learned, okay, that's just for the nonprofit folks and whoever's tied into the nonprofit organizations, right? And aren't tapped into nonprofits, right? So that's when Jake, our other buddy and co-host Alvin, one of LCLA's advisors, Rashad, and myself, we got together and we said, hey, let's use the code of culture, right? Some people aren't tapping into forms and stuff. They're not tapping into that. They're not hearing the message. Why don't we just get some homeboys basically and talk on Zoom? But we talk about what's happening today and how it's affecting us. And then we also look internally at what our society, our culture that leads and directly impacts us today. And that was Block Talk, a convening of culture, right? We just, like Jake said, got together, just our lived LA experiences as a third, second, fourth generation Chicano, Central American, right? My parents migrated here. And then our other co-host, Alvin, is a black man from South Central, right? So we looked at all our different angles, just looked at how we were raised in LA and then where we find ourselves currently, but really our communities. We each work in different niches, right? Jake and I are both in LCLA, but where we're at. And that was the beauty of the show because it's being daring to get out and get after something. Because just like the nonprofits might have not known about the funds, right? We went out, we got them and distributed. Now let's go get wealth, knowledge, and distribute it to our people.
Richard, you're on mute.
You're muted, Richard.
You're
And
moving, but
thank you so much for weaving together all the sort of disparate pieces that were brought together on the table across both organizations. And last but not least, would love for Ingrid to close it out. And with Ingrid, not gonna lie, have a special relationship with Ingrid because she and I are both policy dorks and we love policy. So Ingrid, take it away.
Thank you, Richard, and thank you everybody for joining us tonight. My name is Ingrid, and I have the honor of serving as the Vice President on the Board of Directors of the Latino Coalition of Los Angeles. And like Richard said, I am all about policy. I graduated last year with my master's in public policy from Mills College in Oakland. And truly, LCLA has provided me with a platform to really develop my skills and do the work that I love, which is developing equitable public policies. And this partnership with ULF and the Fireside CharLAs has really given me a firsthand opportunity to hear directly from community members, from grassroots organizations and nonprofits and experts about what our communities really want and really need from policies. And that is really what enables me and my colleagues to develop community-based and driven policy solutions. But the unique thing about LCLA is that it unlocks those doors. And I mean, these days it unlocks the virtual Zoom waiting room, right? To be able to present these policies to elected officials who, at the end of the day, have the ability to put these policies into effect. So I'm really proud of the work that we've been able to do this year, addressing the housing crisis and really looking at it for the public health crisis and the racial justice issue that it is, as well as the work that we're doing in reimagining public safety and really having alternatives to non-armed responses to emergencies, right? And one thing that I'm personally passionate about is getting involved in policy addressing the digital divide and really recognizing that it is one of our modern era civil rights issues, and we need to create policy that's going to give us digital equity. So I'm truly blessed to be able to be working with these my fellow amazing talented board members, and really blessed to have been able to gain so many mentors from LCLA who are sharing their guidance and wisdom, and from our community partners like you, Richard. So thank you so much.
You're muted again.
I knew you would kill it. Part of the reason I'm keep muting myself is because there's planes flying overhead and I don't want the audio to pick it up. But Ingrid, I knew you would kill it. I knew you'd close it out, and I knew you would package it so beautifully with your articulate words and your passion for weaving together policy, justice, and politics, which is why I think we get along so well. So, and so Memo, closing thoughts. Floor is yours, man.
You know, it's always, it's rare to find a group of young people that are so dedicated and just willing to do the work. You know what I mean? Like when I was back in college, I had the privilege of working with a small group of people that way too, through some nonprofits, and I really haven't encountered that since. And so I got to LA Taco, and now meeting you guys is just reassuring that, like, you know, there are Latinos, Latinx, Latinas out there doing this work, you know, willing to go in there, like, and, you know, paving your own lane, as Jake was saying, you know, Edwin trying to figure out like how to, you know, get that money and redistribute it properly. You know, all of you guys, Victor is trying to apply all his different know-hows, and like, you know, Samantha trying to learn and take from different sides of the media, both sides of, like, you know, from writing to press releases, and Ingrid, just her dedication, you know, what I can hear from that, and, you know, your knowledge and policy. I mean, it's very inspiring. You're a very fortunate group of people to have been able to find yourselves, and I find myself very lucky to get to meet you guys through Zoom, but hopefully one day through tacos.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, I'll have it here for posterity. It's being recorded, so I won't be able to back out. But yes, once this is all over and we can be safely together, definitely having you all over for a gathering so we can meet in person. And
I know a couple spots. I know. So.
Yes, COVID friendly spots. Exactly. And so, Memo, you just really kind of teed up the next part and segment of our program in terms of, you know, not only sharing the work that we've done, but what are we going to do going forward, right? There's a lot of synergy on today's conversation, you know, so what do we do with it? How do we harness this, right? So ULF and LCLA is proud to announce a year-round media partnership with none other than the James Beard Foundation Award honoree, LA Taco. This innovative and timely partnership is forged by our shared passion for social justice and, of course, tacos. The partnership builds upon our irrefutable and vested focus, interest, and love for Greater Los Angeles, its people, culture, and the desire to give voice to its marginalized communities of color. LA Taco, ULF, and LCLA will co-create stories and articles that draw attention to the Latinx community and other communities in ways that seek to engage, uplift, and educate everyone. Los Angeles would not be the rich cultural epicenter that it is if it weren't for the contributions made by its diverse Latinx community. We are thrilled to uplift our community's voice so that we may amplify your voice. And in celebration of this very exciting and momentous partnership, I'd like to share a little bit of media. I'm sharing my screen now. Enjoy. Oops. Just a little celebratory graphic there for you all.
Good beat. Yeah. About to be like.
Exactly. A little bit of dancing. Well, I mean, we're definitely gonna put some music on. Oh yeah, I also have one more kind of little cheesy thing.
You gotta hit the two-step. You gotta hit the two-step. If you're gonna keep it LA, you gotta hit the two-step.
No, I'm excited about this partnership, guys. I mean, like I said, the importance of partnerships. You guys are obviously tapped into different parts of the community, especially through the policy side and nonprofits. And it's good. Hopefully, we can all be able to create work on that synergy that we already had, and be able to build those relationships and continue to do great work for the city we love, LA.
What's up? Anybody else have any comments about this exciting partnership? Sam, any comments?
Oh God, I cannot wait. This is so exciting. This is something that Richard, we talked about so much, and Memo, we had the call the other day, and I'm just so happy that we could bring two organizations together that are about LA, for LA, and care about what this city has to offer and what we can give back to our people. So I'm so excited, and I can't wait for what's to come from this partnership.
Woo-woo. Yep. Anybody else have any comments?
I just like to say that it's refreshing to know that there's a media source who we feel will accurately portray our stories, right, without any implicit biases or explicit biases at that. So oftentimes we don't get that privilege, right, in terms of our stories being accurately represented. And so I think this is a really wonderful and refreshing opportunity that I'm sure will be very fruitful for all of our organizations. So I'm very excited to see what will come of this partnership. What has already come of this partnership has been wonderful, and what will come of this partnership. So thank you, Memo, and thank you, Sam, for being awesome like that. And thank you, everybody.
Awesome, yeah. Yeah, looking forward to it, guys. It's gonna be good. Plus, we get tacos, so who can?
Bro, hella excited. We're gonna do a taco hop out here on the east side.
Plus, we get tacos. That's always always icing on the cake. So as I kind of wrap up today's conversation, I do have a few more surprises up my sleeve, but I will keep that for the mixer. So Cindy, if you could please let folks into the room with us. And I also want to make sure that we do get to some Q&A, and I'll check out the chat box, and maybe we can just have a facilitated Q&A. I did change my background to more of a celebratory party background for the mixer, so definitely to get you guys all in the mood. And to keep
the adult beverage, where's the adult beverage?
Where's my adult beverage? Damn it. Oh, it'll come. I'm gonna actually I'll order it online, and then it'll come to my door. We also have another exciting announcement. So in order to fundraise, this is a partnership, right? It's a media partnership, but clearly it's also a partnership that centers around young people. I mean, you've seen both, for example, Sam as well as Victor. They're working across more than one organization, right? And of course, this takes resources. So what I wanted to do is to announce an opportunity to give. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ULF donation button or link, I should say, in the chat box. And what we'll do is all the funds that we raise tonight will go to funding the partnership. And more specifically, what it'll go to fund is continuing the work that is so needed and so valuable that is being led by our next generation of social impact consultants. And so, and to help incentivize giving, what I'd like to propose, and I'd like to first off thank the generosity of LA Taco, because they're donating 15 swag bags. And so if anybody donates over $40 or more, the first 40 people to donate will get a limited edition LA Taco swag bag. And I don't know what's going to be in it. Maybe Memo, you want to give us a little teaser of what might be in the swag bag?
Hella tacos.
Prepackaged tacos. No, just a little, some of our stickers. We pride ourselves on our little stickers. I know some people may not be into it, but our stickers are made by some of the most respected artists in LA. So a different sticker collection by different artists in LA, and we just came out with a keychain that's only for members. So we'll be sending you guys a keychain as well.
Oh,
something very small, but yeah.
Oh, Sam, what do you got there? Sam looks like an LA Taco sticker.
LA Taco might need.
Yeah, so this is just my box from becoming a member myself. So there's a little taco man. So something you're in for.
Very good, very good. And I put the link in the donate page. So $40 or more. We got the first 15 folks, and I can see it on my phone when the donations come in, so I know the order of the first 15 folks. And then for those folks who, it's hard times, I get it. If you can donate under $40, we have ULF swag. We have ULF face masks, which I'll go get one in a second. I can show you. And we can also provide you with the ULF face mask as well as a thank you for your donation. So with that, Jake, maybe you want to put on some appropriate celebratory music, because Jake is our official DJ. He knows how to do all the levels and make it perfect. And I'm going to hand it over to Madam President to facilitate some of the mixer. And I'll be right back. Thank you.
So while Richard makes his way back, I just want to give a quick update that the presidential debate's happening. Nothing new, same old, same old. I'm trying to multitask right now. I didn't get the chance to watch the first one, so I was super committed that I was going to make some time to watch this one today. But I don't see any questions on the chat box. But I did see an argument that I think that Memo, you might be able to solve for us. Best ceviche in LA County.
Mid City.
Best ceviche?
Mariscos linda, mariscos linda.
No,
We just had ceviche week for Tecate. Come on, Memo.
It's difficult. I have my top, 3, 4. I think number 1, I think the Mariscos El Faro in Highland Park is really good. It's almost like sashimi style with the way he also uses chiltepín, chiles on there. That's fantastic. It's very addictive. I always go back for that when I crave it too. There's also Mariscos Jalisco for his shrimp taco and his Poseidon. That's great. I love Mariscos Tocho. He makes a special little black sauce that he uses on all his stuff. But for ceviche, you gotta go. There's like a whole family in Inglewood now. They're all inspired by Connie's, right? By Connie Seafood and her dad, who inspired Checo Chef, who was Underground 106 off of 106 and Prairie. And there's this new kid who also kind of learned from that chain of restaurants called Chef Meñito, who makes a vampiro. It's the first ever vampiro I've seen. I wrote about it. I think about that vampiro every day, and I'm like, I need to go back and get it. It's like shrimp and octopus grilled on a vampiro with cheese, and he puts his own little special black sauce on it too that he makes, and it's so good, so good. You got to try that. But he does it out of his backyard, and I don't know how COVID safe it is right now, but I risk it for that. So yeah.
I love vampiros. Vampiros are one of my favorite all time. I love them so much.
Yeah, and this guy makes a really good one.
Oof.
Mariscos Nayarit and
I just want to say to our boy Jake, actually, our boy Jake, one thing he didn't mention is, aside from being on the board LCLA and organizer, he's also an artist, and he does some cool art. Maybe one day LA Taco has a cool policy-inspired sticker.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I just like to throw wild ideas out, But I like creating cool taco.
Yeah, we love working with different artists all over LA. So yeah, Jake, I got to see what you got, man. And
let's do it, man. I've been plotting. As soon as I heard that announcement, I've been plotting from the get-go.
Yeah, we love artists and local artists.
Thank you.
I always like to hear from people that that I don't recognize. So Genevieve, I was wondering if you might be able to unmute your line and share a little bit with us about who you are and what brings you to today's charla. Genevieve.
Hello. So my name is Genevieve Riatort, and I'm the Deputy Director at Westside Food Bank, which is the food bank warehouse that provides food to social service agencies on the West Side, which for us is La Brea to the ocean, Inglewood to Malibu. Sorry about that. And I'm here because I would just like to be connected to what's going on. This is not my first CharLA. My friend Dora Herrera from Yucas, which awesome tacos. Gotta give her a shout out. I think was the first one to invite me. And I'm just very pleased to be here and happy to hear about what's happening in the community. I'm originally from New York. I'm Boricua, Puerto Rican from New York. So definitely love to connect with other Latinas and Latinos here in Los Angeles, and just glad to be here and hear about what's going on. I did have a question actually, and I think I know the answer, but I was wondering about places for posting jobs. I didn't see anything on either of the websites for United Latinx Fund or Latino Coalition, but I wonder if that's something that you might have in the works, because we'd like to be able to have those resources available.
So we do, and the place that we have it is in our weekly newsletter, and we tailor it for nonprofits and the folks that nonprofits serve. And then we actually do have a place on our website that has all of the content from the newsletter. So the newsletter just has an abbreviated, like, what do you call it? Just a summary. And then that goes to the main website. Victor, if you mind, can as your fellow Boricua on the line, Victor, would you mind combing the ULF website? If you could put a link to some of that content. But bottom line is, you can also send an email. I'll give you the info email right now, and we can more than happy to post those jobs on our weekly newsletter.
That's great, because I'm going to have a job to post soon, and I would love to spread the word to some of my other colleagues. I don't know if it was you or someone else, but I really loved using the word social good organizations or community benefit organizations, because I'm a firm believer that that's how we should define ourselves, instead of by what we aren't, like nonprofit. I don't like that. We're businesses just like any other business, and we need resources. And the difference is the profits don't go to shareholders getting rich, the profits go into the community. So I really would love to be part of that changing of the terminology from nonprofit organization to social good, community benefit, something that's more about what we actually do, and to help get that message out there that in fact we are businesses, we need resources, we want to pay our employees well, we want to give them benefits. We want to, lure people with student debt away from those corporate jobs and into jobs that help the community. So that's my soapbox. I'll step off now. Thank you.
And we're training the next generation of folks to take that leadership. That's exactly what we're trying to do. So Genevieve, love what you're doing.
Not only that, Genevieve was super helpful with the youth development committee, and that's she came on. She helped us with so much with guidance and kind of like guiding how to seek funding and how to package things and everything like that. And so she came through and helped us a lot with that. So I was not that helpful.
I wish I had been more helpful, but I'm always available for questions, and I'm happy to share my connections. I really had hoped to be able to get you guys some funds, and we were not as successful as I had hoped, but I thank you, and I'm still here as a resource.
If I could jump in real quick to that point, Genevieve, I'm really excited you came, because I wanted to update you on we're shifting that. We're still trying to get those funds, but that we're also very much looking at it from like a policy side of what can we start to lobby for that's going to protect that in the future, right?
Yes,
so that we
and
can
I really
ensure
love
that we
what
don't need to
Ingrid
fight for
had
this
to
later.
say about that, because the truth is we shouldn't be having to fundraise privately for this. This should be policy, and the digital divide should not be a thing. That's the right way to go. So kudos to Ingrid for what you're doing.
Well, Ingrid, you want to share a little bit about share a little bit about the
I like words. Ingrid, you said it was the modern day.
It's one of our modern era civil rights issues that we really need to advocate for, because what's really going on is cyber redlining, right? These companies are choosing where and where not to provide broadband when broadband is no longer a luxury item. It's a necessity. And I think COVID has made it very evident, not only for our distance learning for our children, but also if you're looking for unemployment benefits or any type of assistance, now you have to go virtually, right? And households who don't have that ability are really put in a much more vulnerable position than they already are. So definitely.
Right. And super quick to take it out of the educational context, if we look at small businesses too, in this case, small Latino businesses, many of them are behind electronically, or they don't have the gadgets needed to do the red bike delivery services or whatever the delivery services are. I'm not into giving free commercials, but yeah, that's something that is purposeful, and lots of these communities may be pushed out of business, right? Because there's a charm of the mom and pop, but especially now at the age of COVID, where a lot of people can't come in and experience the charm, like, we have to help these businesses sustain and then remain in the future, right? Because if they go, then the community goes, right? And the essence, the culture of the community changes. And that's what I believe a lot of us here are trying to fight. So support small local businesses.
And beyond that, my 9 to 5 is I work for the LA County Library. I do programming, right? And so just to folks like us who kind of like have a little, we all have a degree of privilege if we're on a Zoom, right? But that we overlook the necessity of internet because we have it. But then like places like the library, they're real communal location in the community, located in the community of people that really don't have that access. And so the library, as we think about it, we haven't been there in forever, but to local communities, to real, small communities, it's a daily access thing. They go there to check their email, they go there to check their job postings or their job applications. And so just on that, having that accessibility is like now it's taken away from so many people, and it goes beyond the students into the parents as well.
Well said. I always like to hear from folks we haven't heard from before. Brittany, I noticed that you were compelled
Don't
by the
call
term.
me out right now. You just want to see if I'm listening.
No, really.
No. You guys are on fire. You guys are on fire. And just like, I want to see, she turned her screen off, but she was saying the debate's on. So my daughter, my little one, said, can you listen with one ear pod to one thing and the other ear pod to the other? And I was like, no, but that's a good innovation. That's good innovation. But I've had the pleasure of joining this group, hearing wonderful speakers. And today I didn't get to see what the topic was going to be, but I always like to jump in or join in when I can. And hearing what you're saying as an educator, work for higher education, you're speaking everything that's happening. So not only as I work in higher education, but I have children who are distance learning. And that red line is no joke. What you just, I want to say it was Edwin maybe, or someone who just said, if we're on Zoom right now, we're coming from some particular privilege, right? It's crazy. You said that, yes, the library. Yeah, you said, and you're right. When we think about it, we can access Zoom no problem. But we've got students who have technical issues that don't have noise canceling headphones, don't have their own spaces to work, don't want to show their camera because their background, they're concerned with it. These layers of issues are so deep and so entrenched. And here we are watching a debate with someone we hope doesn't show up on November 4th. You know what I mean? It's been crazy. And I want to applaud each and every one of you. Genevieve, I had to comment. I was like, yes, I love what you said. We shouldn't have to be doing that, but we do. And then I wrote another thing down, help businesses sustain and remain. Edwin, I think you said that. That was fresh. That's a fact. And here we are. We're driving in through neighborhoods and we're seeing those for sale signs on these businesses. And it is literally like, it's because it's happening so much, sometimes we don't even think about it. but the people that have put their life into these businesses, that have dedicated everything to make sure that it can happen, isn't happening. And what is going on? It's just too much. So I know you just said a quick comment, but I just wanted to wrap it all in there, that I heard you, I hear you, I receive what you're doing, I applaud you, and we need more of this.
Great. We're here for you, girl. Thank you.
And I just wanted to add, Ingrid, I'm not sure, I don't think she mentioned that the next CharLA is going to be on basically cyber redlining and the digital divide. And we actually have a contact at the City of LA, Brenda Shockley, who's the new Deputy Mayor of Equity and oversees the Department of Equity for the City of LA, as well as I want to bring for a very pointed conversation with our friends at the telecommunications companies and the folks who are the government affairs and the public affairs folks, because we want to have that conversation, and it's part of the campaign for nonprofit resilience. Ingrid, do you want to just quickly close us out, because it is 6:34 and I know folks have places to go.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you, Richard, first of all, for being an amazing host throughout these 30 weeks. And thank you, everyone who's been tuning in and coming to join us, and for all the work that you're doing in your perspective fields to really uplift our communities and continue that resiliency that we all have in us, and that spirit that we've inherited, like Victor said, from our ancestors. And more importantly, we might be the next generation right now, but we're really doing it for our young ones, right? For our kids, for my nephews, for our children that are coming up, and they deserve better and they deserve equity. And so thank you all for joining us tonight, and we look forward to continuing the conversations.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Memo. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Next Gen. We will be in communication, and please go enjoy the rest of your evening safely, and we'll be in communication soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everyone.